Hello, it is Sarah Waggle, astrologer and leadership coach here for this Moon Astrology Tarot, this time for the moon in Aries. This is March 10th through the 12th. It's kind of the evening of the 10th and to the evening of March 12th, but this is a moon in Aries. We are in, that Pisces new moon was the last new moon of not only the zodiacal year or the astrological year, but it was also the last new moon before eclipses, because in 2 weeks we will have a lunar eclipse. It will not be visible in the United States. I think it's more like Eastern Europe, Eastern Asia, those areas of the world. But we do have the, of course, Great American solar eclipse happening on April 8th. I'm going to do my best to get videos published as soon as possible as I move through my own energy. So, and also just upgrading the editing and whatnot. That Pisces new moon video was the most editing I've ever done. And I think I did pretty good, but it was very long. I didn't like that part, but give me some transition time to get used to moving all the pieces around. So I appreciate you if you tuned into that, commented on that, liked that. You could also catch the clips, the sun sign clips, if you're on TikTok. I am posting the clips on TikTok. You can find me there at Sarah Waggle if you're a TikToker. If you're not a TikToker, that's okay. You can still be here on YouTube. It's however it goes. I'm just having some fun playing with platforms. It's honestly the same content no matter where you go. Yeah, so I'm also going to be doing a fun video thing starting in Aries season. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm also being a little secretive about it because I want it to be a surprise because I like surprises. And so, but I think it'll be fun. If nothing else, it'll be fun for me. And that's what I love, that segues right into this Aries moon. So we're now in a waxing moon phase, which means we're getting more, brighter moon. This is an Aries moon, so it's a fire sign. It's a cardinal energy. However, this moon, of course, will cross paths with Mercury now in Aries, where it'll be until mid-May because of its retrograde in April. It's going to cross paths with the North Node and with Chiron. And so things that are being dug up and surfaced and feel like something, like it feels like salt in the wounds, right? A little bit. As stuff is surfacing, let's also keep in mind Saturn in Pisces is a 28 to 30 year transit. So, things that are coming up, maybe stuff from 30 years ago. So that would have been like what, the mid 90s or so. And so, you may be feeling like high school, well, for me, high school. Maybe for you, you were not in high school, maybe you were older or younger than that. And so I think it's important to remember that a lot of what's coming up to be cleansed and purged is potentially 30 years ago occurrences or experiences or things that wounded you, and if you were a child during that time, this could be like and just because of where everything is, like this could be a lot of like inner child wounds that are surfacing to be cleansed, to be acknowledged. Maybe it's an inner child situation where you need to reparent your inner child and show it some love. I know I'm noticing that for a lot of people that are reaching out to me recently. A lot of stuff surfacing. A lot of the reasons that people say they are going sober from alcohol now is because they used alcohol to numb or quiet their spiritual gifts, whether that's their clairs or their psychic abilities or whatnot. And so I know I've talked about that a lot lately because I feel like and it's not to sound judgy. So please do you. And if you want to, say fuck you to your camera, to your, video when I can't hear you, that's okay too. But sobriety from alcohol Really something that I recommend as we move through this Pisces time, because we will have Neptune and Saturn in Pisces until 2026. Now they'll both float in and out of Pisces towards the end of 2025 and into 2026, but they will conjunct at 0 Aries in early 2026. And so as we are moving through this, with these two planets in Pisces, you may be noticing, like your hangovers last longer, or something like that, or the effects of alcohol are intensified. And if you feel like the world is kind of spinny, I mean, that's naturally occurring. And I'm hearing other people who are sober saying that they feel drunk, even when they're not drunk, obviously, because they're sober. And so that's kind of the energy that we're in, that you kind of don't need alcohol to feel the effects of intoxication. And so again, this isn't me trying to be judgy. This is the energy that which we're in. And so whatever may have been happening in your life in the mid 90s, I think it was 94 to 96 ballparking, maybe something you experienced at that time in your life is resurfacing, and potentially triggering or bringing up emotion around it, and whatnot. And so as we move through this Aries moon, which is going to, like I said, it's going to hit conjunct with Mercury, conjunct with the North Node, therefore oppose the South Node in Libra, and then, of course, conjunct Chiron. There's a lot to be had here, not only in the letting go or purging or grieving process, but also in the how can you use that energy to create? Because we will also have Venus moving into Pisces. Venus is exalted or loves being in Pisces. She thrives there, because Pisces is kind of that dreamy energy, and Venus is that creative, creative energy. So this Venus transit could be super supportive and helpful as we move through. And eventually, I can't remember the date. I think I wrote it down somewhere. The Venus will conjunct Saturn in Pisces. And when that occurs, I feel like there will be this notion to be responsible with your creativity, whether that's publishing your artwork or really grinding in to write your book, or, draw, or, whatever creative project. Maybe you're into cooking and culinary arts and things like that. So I feel like there's just a lot of potential here, but you gotta cleanse, you gotta let go of old things in order to allow space for new things. And so there we have it. Anything else that I feel like I need to say about this moon in Aries? Like I said, we're into the energy of eclipses, and they're going to be intense. I have a lot to say about things as we get through the rest of Pisces season. And I'll go into more with the Taurus moon in the next video that we'll post on my YouTube. I already have this planned out, because I wanna really think about the energies and what's realistically going on in the world. And so yeah. So anyway, so that's what I have for the Aries moon. Like I said, we're now waxing towards a lunar eclipse on the 25th. And then that moon will then wane into a solar eclipse on April 8th. And so if you are interested in getting a reading with me, particularly about that, you can either contact me directly if you happen to know me directly, or you can click on the Calendly link below and whatnot. I don't know why my eye is suddenly watering, but it is because it's spring, kind of, almost. It's been warm here. So allergies are a thing. But yeah, let's see what's up with the Star Trek Tarot. Since that's what we come here for, we really all come here for the Star Trek Tarot, right? Oh, interesting. The Page of Starships in reverse. Oh, didn't we just pull this one recently? This is Lao, the daughter that Data created for himself. Page of Starships in reverse. Yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of emotional, maybe even turmoil happening for a lot of folks. I think there is a lot of grieving happening. I think there is a lot of people not, people who don't do inner work, who don't do emotional intelligence work, who don't watch astrology videos, who, are going through it. Maybe they're having, and like I said, I think I've said it in the Pisces new moon video, it's all about how you respond to the things that happen, whether it's a technology problem, communication problem, a relationship problem, whatever. I think it's how you respond to it. And I think that a lot of people are struggling big time. There is just fuck tons of fear mongering happening and whatnot. And I think, the less you are able to, pivot and be flexible and adaptable, the harder this time and space is really going to be, especially like basically this whole year. This is like one of those years where, and this is why I did that practical tools for 2024 video, was because this is the confusing AF year. It's confusing because nobody knows what the hell's going on. And clearly we have leadership that can't put sentences together. We have a lot of transformation happening. And if you've done transformation work, you know that there's a time or a moment when you're going through healing, you're going through like what you're developing your list of conditions of satisfaction, you're learning a lot of tools and things. And there's a moment where you're just confused. Like, what am I at? Like, okay, I've cleared all the shit. Now what's next? And you have no freaking clue what's next. But you have to remember that a lot of people are not doing this level of work. They're not clearing, they're not cleansing, they're holding on to shit that's not working. They're clinging to that old structured life. And in many ways, we all are, right? We all are. And I think that's what this page of starships, page of cups in reverse is talking about, is there's just so much clinginess happening, that people are clinging on to an old system structure, and they are certainly not trying to prepare themselves, or, they're just hoping that everything's going to return to normal. And let me just tell you, we're in 2024. We got 6 years left in this decade. Shit is not going back to normal. So it's not. And I'm here for it. Like, I'm seriously here for it. I realized, 12 years ago that I didn't think what we had as quote unquote normal life was healthy or good. But that's because I felt like shit about my life at that time. So let's see what's up with the woodland wardens. Let's get a critter and a plant to work with. I am finding that as I drink more tea and less coffee, that I'm feeling more grounded, and probably because the teas have obviously more, and I'm drinking like loose leaf teas, not tea bags from the store. Not that there's a problem with that, but I find loose leaf tea having a hell of a lot more flavor. But as I am, getting into more loose leaf teas, I am finding that it's got me a little more grounded, and got me a little more into feeling a bit less spacey and a bit less like I'm floating. But this Pisces season has had me very intentionally practicing regulating my nervous system, and grounding myself and whatnot. And by that, I mean sometimes laying flat on my bed and listening to some low frequency, not as in low emotional frequency, but like as in bassy music, because bassy drumish music, like shamanic drums or whatever, it feels like it very much pulls me back into the earth. And I am one of those airy, watery people who never feels grounded. So from the woodland creatures, we have the finch and the peach. And the term on here is romance. Interesting. I love this with Venus and Pisces. The finch and what was the other one? Oh, the peach. That's what it was. I love this with Venus and Pisces. I think too, it's also important to remember that romance does not have to mean like having a romantic relationship. Not that I don't want one, but I'm not currently in one. So I do tend to speak to the singles crowd, and those of us who are, living life on our own, whether by choice or by not. But I think with Venus and Pisces, this is kind of pointing to like feeling romantic in your own life, whether that's me dates or romantically, having a romance with your artistic talent, having a romance with you. I always so I've had plenty of conversations with various practitioners about having an orgasmic relationship with your business, with your art, with what you create. And I think this is true. And I think that I think there's something to that. And as you know, Venus and Pisces, which we will have until I think early April. So as this moon is waxing, we're going to have this Venus and Pisces. So we're going to have this like romantic energy. And yes, we should, I feel like we should all want a romantic partner, but I think there's also something to be said for relationships aren't just about romantic partners. They're also about being romantic with yourself, being romantic with your friends, having an intimate moment or intimate contact, not necessarily physical intimacy, because intimate into me, what is it? Into me, I see. But finding that like, being around those people that you can be yourself and be vulnerable and all of that, and finding, feeling through that path with the people who you're around. And I know this is, if you're somebody like me, like this is something that you may struggle with because you don't want to show your true self because of previous fears, which goes back to Saturn in Pisces and the repeat from the mid-90s. So you see where this all fits together. But I think there is something to be said for, feel into the finch and or the peach, whatever aligns for you, and maybe do some research on the spiritual guidance of the finch, and whatnot, and or what does a finch look like a physical description of it or a picture of it or whatever. Peaches, juicy peaches. Okay, come on. That one sounds pretty easy. I don't need to go into detail on that one. I kind of love that. I kind of love that with Venus and Pisces. And this Aries moon of like, what fires up your romance, what fires up the desires, the dreams, the things, like what fires you up. What so like, I mean, I can only use like my own, well, not really, because I've talked to other content creators, but like some of us like really, when we finish a video or finish a social media project or whatever, and it's something that we've kind of like tried something new or we've struggled with it and we get it up on the internet and we're like, woohoo, like we have this little party with ourselves, like, woohoo, I did it. I did the thing. It looks kind of crappy, but I did the thing, right? Like, however that looks for you, like maybe you're doing a music thing and your first, video or your first song, and you're like, okay, it sounds really shitty, but I did it. I did the things, I did the steps, I did the, whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like there's something about being romantic with your creative art is where I'm going with that. Anyway. In the oils department, we have, this looks like cinnamon. Well, close, cassia oil, which provides courage and strength. I love cassia. It does have a cinnamony aroma to it. And so I do love it because I love the smell of cinnamon. There's something very intoxicating to me about cinnamon. But courage, and I think that goes back to the Pluto in Aquarius situation. Pluto or Aquarius opposing Leo being courageous and Aquarius kind of hiding in the background. And so I feel like there's a bunch of different things going on with these cards, in that we've got like the emotional grievancy things happening because we're letting go of something. right? Whatever that is, we've got the romance happening, and then we've got this being courageous. And there is something to being courageous enough and being courageous within yourself to do transformation work. This is not for the faint of heart. Healing is no easy process. It makes you feel like shit and a good chunk of the time. It can make you feel like your skin is crawling sometimes because you're digging at old wounds. Like I said, salt in the wounds. It can make you feel gross and dirty and need to take a shower. It can make you feel like you need to cleanse, like digestively, and whatnot. So you will never hear me say healing is like this beautiful rainbow pooping unicorn's journey. No, that's complete bullshit. It can make you, it can support you in developing that experience in life, but actual healing, when you actually dig deep into your emotional wounding, that shit's tough. And so I think that's what this is going on here is like, we're all being really nudged. Nudged may be an understatement, but because of where these planets are, and what's being asked of us by the universe is, this process of letting go of some deep shit that we've been holding on to, but it's the shit that's keeping us from moving forward into the life experience that we indeed want to have. So think about that as you move through the next couple of days, is what is the experience of life that you want to have? Do you want to feel content? Do you want to feel like a savage? Do you want to feel warm and fuzzy inside? Do you want to feel joyous? Do you want to feel strong? Maybe you want to feel strong. Do you want to feel muscular? I mean, yes, muscular is a physical characteristic. However, it's kind of one of those like, how do you want to feel? And so, anywho, all right. Thank you for tuning in to this Moon Astrology Tarot. And of course, you can check out all the links below. You can join me over on the Awakening Spirit Collective, where I did just publish my March astrology bonus. And then, of course, I will do the Aries season overview over there and whatnot. And otherwise, you can stay here on YouTube and catch the videos here. But the Awakening Spirit Collective is a platform unto itself, so it can be a little less cautious of being shadow banned on the public platforms. Anywho, so thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, bye.